Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so welcome back. Welcome to game number 2 here in this Garena Grand Poobah event. Of course, the best of 3 series between Impunity and TT Esports is well underway. We're here in game number 2. TT Esports coming out victorious in game number 1 after some beautiful Forsaken Archer play from a Mr. Slicks. As well as a great team effort in general, but per usual, there's a couple standout plays, and most of them did involve Forsaken Archer. I'm Zyori from ZyoriTV, as you can see by our Singleton overlay here. Hopefully you've been enjoying the cast so far. I am rolling solo today, so sorry if you're one that finds that a bit painful, but well, that's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles. It is bright and early here on the East Coast, so feeling good, finally awake after that first game, but you know, always... Anytime you got to get up early, that first game's always a little more like I'm mixing up my numbers because dyslexia seems to shine through sleepiness and no other time. I don't quite understand why. But anyhow, thank you for joining us. Hopefully, I'll be casting some more SEA stuff, some more Garena stuff as it becomes available, as my schedule allows. It's been a blast so far. So a big shout out to you guys for watching, and of course the opportunity for at least me being here to be able to even cover some of these games in general and being set up on the Garena client. So anyhow, let's take a look at this game here. Let's take a look at some of the bans. Of course, game number 1, TT Esports had first ban, so now things being switched up. Impunity's Air going to start off the banning phase with a ban on Tundra, followed up by Glacius, Cthulhuphant, Silhouette, Pebbles, Polywog Priest, Ophelia, and Bubbles. Again, fairly straightforward bans. It's interesting in the last game how I commented about Glacius as sort of the poster child for a hero that almost never gets banned but gets picked almost every game. And of course, 2 out of 2 times now we've seen him banned. What are you going to do? That's the problem with casting Slicks. He tends to do that kind of stuff, where as soon as I have something in my head, is like, alright, this is a pretty sound statement that has a lot of evidence to back it up, he totally throws out the rulebook and does whatever the hell he wants. So Glacius, I guess, becoming a slightly more popular band. Aluna still on the board is a big thing that jumps out at me. I'll be surprised if TT Esports doesn't pick up Aluna in this first round of picks here, because as we talked about in that last game, she's just such a versatile hero, so powerful. And TT Esports has been playing her a lot. They've been working her into pretty much every lineup that they have. So I see someone. How do you actually pronounce it? Is it G Arena or is it Garena? Like, am I saying it wrong? I don't know. No one's ever really corrected me before. I'm not butchering it on purpose. So it's Garena. Is that correct? I hope so. Not trying to be a G. Now I'm getting both. All right. Well, you know, we can talk about it after the game. I'll just avoid saying it. We can talk about it afterwards. I don't know what the appropriate, what the absolute right way to say it is. No one's ever really corrected me before, but that's. So anyhow, again, Polywog pretty similar bans to last game. Ophelia. A banned yet again, but we see Tempest on the board, as well as Parasite. One hero that's left open that was banned last game is Demented Shaman, and that's definitely been kind of a questionable choice. He's been pretty dead on the international client recently. I saw one of the games I casted yesterday had a Demented Shaman, but that seemed to be a rarity. The nerf on Unbreakable seemed to really scare people away from using Demented Shaman. TT Esports, though, going Valkyrie Behemoth, their first 2 picks, not opting for the Aluna, as I suggested, so certainly a little bit surprised there. You know, she may be worked in later on in the roster, but Valkyrie Behemoth, the beginnings of a very deadly lane duo, of course, very versatile heroes as well, so starting things off right. I'm a little bit intrigued by Impunity's first pick onto Witchslayer as well. Witchslayer, yeah, definitely not a hero that we see. Definitely not a hero that we see too much on the international client either. Definitely not first pick material, at least in my mind. More interesting picks coming from Impunity, following up the Witchslayer with Corrupted Disciple Magmus, which I have to admit, seeing Corrupted Disciple and Witchslayer in those first 2 rounds of picks, kind of throwing me for a loop, mostly because those are two heroes that I would classify as, quote, wild card heroes. Heroes that we see picked up from time to time, but generally in those last two slots, in the, okay, we're going to pick Corrupted Disciple to counter what you're doing right here. Or we want to surprise you with our Corrupted Disciple, and we want to pick him at a point where you can't really effectively counter him. Witch Slayer, in a similar fashion, you usually want to go after those really high-profile heroes first, mostly so your opponent can't pick them up. As we see, TT Esports able to pick up Pyromancer Aluna. So again, it looks like TT Esports having a little bit of fun with this. Like I've talked about Aluna many a time, they did manage to pick her up, but Pyromancer, a hero that to say for the third time here, not seen too frequently. He's definitely powerful. One of the problems with Pyromancer is he is a snowball hero. He does fall off very, very quickly if he doesn't get a good start. And sort of that double-edged sort of, he can benefit a lot from a lane partner, but almost wants to have a solo lane so that he can pick up all that solo experience. Laning him can be a little bit tricky, and that's definitely one of the issues that teams do have with him. Last two picks for Impunity though that come out are going to be Plague Rider, Emerald Warden, and in my mind, Emerald Warden is sort of the poster boy for SEA popularity. He was one of the first heroes that I noticed that we never see on the international client, and from the little bit that I've casted from the SEA region, we see Emerald Warden a lot more frequently. So in my mind, that's definitely very, very cool to see some Emerald Warden play. And a hero that's really grown on me. I really wasn't too fond of that hero's potential. I don't know the right way to put it. Just too fond of the hero in general, but he's definitely grown on me as sort of an anti-jungler, having that huge silence, being the most irritating harasser ever with those stupid hunters, command wolves. And all around, very, very solid hero. Interesting to see Plague Rider as well. Haven't seen much Plague Rider action. So a lot of heroes sort of breaking off the dust a little bit. And whoa! And Amun-Ra, of course, it was randomed. So that makes me think they just ran out of time. But is TT Esports just going to go with it, is my question. I don't know what they're going to do here as far as a remake or... yeah, there it is. L is AFK. So... looks like they did want to go with the Meraxis last pick. So we are going to have a remake. Unfortunately, guys, you're going to have to bear with us. Looks like Mishka's going to rehost this bad boy, and we'll get into it. So, sorry about that, ladies and gents. But we are going to have to delay this just a pinch longer here as Amun-Ra. Not going to be the pick of the day. I got really excited for a second there. I was like, holy biscuits. We're going to see an Amun-Ra pick here. Like, it has been so long since I've seen an Amun-Ra. It's almost ridiculous. Damn you, TT Esports, getting my hopes up. So, it is going to be a Meraxis last pick. And, of course, they are going to leave that game remake. And we'll get it up in just a matter of moments. So I guess we'll take this time for shameless plugs. You can always follow me on Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. Everything / ZyoriTV. So just as it is in Twitch chat as well. Very easy to find. If you follow Twitter, I do tweet quite a bit, kind of what I'm up to. If I'm casting more Garena stuff, you can certainly know about it via all the social networking. Hopefully next time we cast this stuff, I'll have a little bit more in the way of images and production. Always like to have a couple of splash screens, working that webcam a little bit. Also in the process of upgrading my hardware, so I have been having some lag issues associated with said webcam, so I've been kind of steering away from it a little bit recently just because, well, trying to keep the quality as high as possible. I am going through some upgrades though. Parts are slowly arriving one by one by one. So soon we'll have Zyori in 1080p in upcoming days here, probably a week or so. So not quite so much to say thanks to the remake. Leon Black. In case any of you or most of you aren't so familiar with me, I also do a Han replay analysis series called the Zyori Breakdown. You can check it out at my domain, ZyoriTV. Check out. I usually bring on interview guests and breakdown replays hopefully learn a little bit. There are quite a few VODs. I did recently start a YouTube channel where hopefully I don't know how Garena handles VODs here if they're not really posted anywhere. Certainly, if appropriate, they'll be on my YouTube channel. If not, I'll be tweeting links where they're available in case you missed the first game, want to rewatch something, missed any of the action. So you can certainly check that out. I have been spending more time trying to cast Han replays in general. You know, of course, I'm sure some of you are aware I'm doing League of Legends stuff a little bit. So, you know, I'm still doing plenty of Han. Yesterday I did cast 3 or 4 scrim replays. Always looking for interesting replays to break down, to look at, to cast, whatever. If you have interesting replays, by all means, you can email them to me, Zyori at ZyoriTV. Zyori at Zyori.tv, a very easy email to remember. Feel free, by all means. Even just comments, questions, concerns, what have you. Sure, drop me a line anytime. Certainly is no problem. That is indeed my public email. So it looks like we are counting down. Alright, so we should be able to breeze through this picking phase. Of course, it is all picked. Same heroes should be coming out here. And we can get into game number 2 in this best of 3 series. And we can talk about these heroes a little bit. I need the alt avatar. Help. 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 Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of playing on the other client. You don't have your avatars. Oh, rats. Interesting rosters. I'm actually really looking forward to this game coming up. Both teams have pretty interesting lineups. As I mentioned in the picking phase, it seemed 50% of the heroes or so got the kind of, oh yeah, haven't seen this hero in a while. Wow, haven't really seen this hero too much. You know, I always hate to sound kind of like a broken record, but you know, sometimes stuff like that just turns out, though. Even Meraxis is one who was the recipient, it's sort of the inverse of Glacius. He's banned a lot and actually picked fairly infrequently for a couple of reasons. One, it seems that there's a handful of teams that really excel with Meraxis, others that pick him just because they feel like he's good, and others that just don't play him so well. So he's sort of a hero where he gets banned against those teams that make him really, really scary, and then teams that don't play him so much, well, if he doesn't get banned, they just don't even bother picking him. So kind of an interesting hero in that sense, where he's very powerful but still not played all that much, kind of the opposite of an Aluna here. Looking at the laning phase, looks like it is going to be Behemoth Pyromancer up here in the top lane, which does leave for a solo Valkyrie in the hands of WTF down here in the bottom Suicide lane, and I think he is going to have, whoops, sorry about that, going to have plenty on his plate. Emerald Warden is wandering his way down, and is going to be kind of a tri-lane here. Witch Slayer, Corrupted Disciple, and Magma. So they certainly do have tri-lane potential heroes, and I'll be curious to see where they settle down. Is Witch Slayer going to end up in kind of a solo role, or is he going to play that kind of babysit support role? One of the great things about Witch Slayer is that versatility. He can definitely be have a driving force if he does play the that kind of solo mid role, but definitely does have that good bit of versatility. So we'll see where they settle down. We'll see a lot of movement around the bottom and mid lanes. Certainly a lot of options. Looks like in the top, though, it will be Plague Rider, as we would expect here, and the Suicide lane is just going to be denying these creeps. So a very classic take on Plague Rider, I think, is a good way to say it. As I mentioned in the picking phase, Plague Rider went from one of these heroes that was instantly picked or banned every game to he's almost ignored now. And part of the problem is he just doesn't scale as well as some of the other supports. Doesn't have that quite the same laning presence. He's got a very defensive laning presence, obviously, with that deny, and doesn't really fare so well with that aggression. Interesting plays from Impunity here, though, to start things off. They do have no one in the bottom lane. Looks like they were attempting for kind of an early Bloodlust, but Magnus and Emerald Warden are going to venture their way down to the bottom lane here and try and slow down WTF, who did get at least a couple moments of free farm here, though. Didn't really get to capitalize as he's sitting 0-2 in creep scores, so sort of unfortunate for WTF, missing a couple of those early kills. And a courier here. Where is the Garena courier? Is it this one? The hoverboard courier? Is that? Oh, it's adorable. Look how cute. Oh, we need that on the international client pronto. That is a cute little courier, though. I don't really know. I guess he looks like the little Garena guy. Was he a little monkey? Or just a little, no, just a little dude in a spacesuit on a hoverboard. Very cool, very cool. For some reason, he looked like some little monkey that I've seen before. Uh-oh, help me. Courier going to get taken out, though. They were trying to scout it out, and it is going to go down up in the top lane. Oh, a little bit of damage exchange, but big misplay from TT Esports there. Their own courier. Guess it's probably because it's not the Garena courier. Of course, it did get spotted and taken down. Very unfortunate, though. That is, as I mentioned, that's a 600 sunk cost right there that you're never going to get back. You really have to buy another courier, and the caveat there as well is you have to go back to the base to use the courier. You can buy it, but you can't use it from your bank. So one of these players is going to have to run back eventually here before they can get another courier, and of course it does cost 200, another 400 to upgrade it. Then you had that initial 200 to upgrade it the first time, as it doesn't start upgraded. So that's 600 gold gone. You know, that is that's a lot of wards. That's a support's boots. You know, that really is a significant amount, and kind of unfortunate to see it get dropped so early on. 2.5 minutes in, though, still no bloodlust, so both sides playing reasonably defensively. The Luna Meraxis lane faring reasonably well against the Corrupted Disciple Witch Slayer lane. Glancing at the farm, see Corrupted Disciple is actually leading the way, so it seems Witch Slayer is doing a pretty good job keeping Meraxis at bay and trying to harass Aluna every chance he gets. Plague Rider still doing what Plague Rider does best, it would seem, up here in the top lane, just trying to get some of that lane control back and deny as much farm as possible, and actually doing a pretty good job. Pyromancer, though, in kind of free farm status almost, still isn't picking up that much farm. I mean, certainly a big step below Lady Melissa on that Corrupted Disciple. So we'll see how this fares for Slicks. This does make me a little bit nervous. In my mind, this is really one of the best counters to a Pyromancer, is putting him up against a really defensive lane, like a solo electrician. Or in this case, a Plague Rider who's not even giving him the opportunity to harass. Because Pyromancer is a hero that's focused very, very much so on the early game. He's like, as I coined him, oh, hold that thought as we may see a Bloodlust. There it is. Impunity's very own Air going to finish off with Talaba for a Bloodlust kill. Looks like Riser will be short to follow here. Down he goes. Lady Melissa going to be the one to pick up that Bloodlust kill. Beautifully done by Impunity, now picking up some victory here in the mid lane. Corrupted Disciple not only going to be able to pick up a kill, but also get a bit of free farm here while this mid lane is under duress. Very, very well done right there. Pardon me. Anyhow, as I was saying about Pyromancer, he's a snowball hero, and generally with snowball heroes, picking up free farm early on can be good, but they really benefit from picking up those early kills. You know, the difference of a Pebbles who static farms the first 15 minutes and a Pebbles who picks up 1 or 2 early kills and then only has to static farm for 10 minutes is huge. It really changes the force of that hero, and oh my gosh, I'm such a baddie. Sorry for missing that kill. I really do apologize. A little bit of caster tunnel visioning, tunnel visioning going on there, and I do humbly apologize. Anyhow, it makes me a little bit nervous. Now Slicks is going to have to farm pretty aggressively and time his attacks very, very cautiously. Of course, Pyromancer is one such hero. You want to be aggressive, and giving this opportunity where, okay, he can static farm this lane, it makes him think twice. It gives him a much higher opportunity cost. If he leaves this lane, he's giving up a lot in free farm for the chance of being able to pick up a kill. So now Slicks is in that, well, I could sit up here and static farm, or I could try to roam around and pick up kills, knowing that if I don't pick up those kills, I'm missing out on a lot of farm, missing out on a lot of potential experience. So that's what makes this Pyromancer pickup so risky, in my opinion, and why I like what Impunity is doing here as far as throwing in that Suicide Plague Rider in a normally a situation that we don't see too often now these days, but working very nicely in this game. We did sort of catch the tail end of a kill down here in the bottom lane. Looked like Emerald Warden was the one to be taken out. And there has been some lane shuffling going on. This Aluna Meraxis is going to abandon ship in the mid, and it looks like that's the right choice, because down here in the bottom lane, Impunity's Air is going to get taken down. We see kind of a pseudo tri-lane forming almost for Impunity, and it is not looking too sharp right now. I love the lane swap from TT Esports. Going to send Valkyrie mid to go toe-to-toe with what is now a solo Corrupted Disciple, seeing as Witch Slayer has roamed down to the bottom lane only to concede a death concede a kill, I should say, to those 2 deadly heroes down here. I think right there we saw sort of described for us via action the power of Aluna. That's why she is picked up so aggressively. Nothing in the inventory, sitting only level 4, still able to put out all that burst damage, also with a stun, and also with a lot of range. You know, both those abilities very have a long range, as well as her auto attack has a long range as well. So just more evidence as to why Luna truly is the powerful support that everyone has kind of been talking about, or at least as her picking frequency would indicate. Still relatively low on kills, though. We see a potential kill trying to be set up here. Air trying to be sneaky on this Witch Slayer hiding in the trees. This seems to be the sort of the talk of the town in this series in general. We've seen quite a few engages start there, whether it's getting the jump or getting jump themselves. We saw WTF throwing the arrow for a little bit of scouting, scaring Witch Slayer back. So a nice read from WTF, playing very, very wisely. Does have some sight here, so probably caught a glimpse of old Witch Slayer. Or trying to run on by. A Corrupted Disciple leading the way in farm in this game, sitting 35 and 14. See Miraxis down here in the bottom, taking a bit of harassment, but not going to be able to secure a kill. Seeing Corrupted Disciple with that early farm, certainly good news for Impunity here, though both Pyromancer and Miraxis are well on their way. I'm still a little bit surprised to see Pyromancer not farming a little bit better, as he really is at kind of... well, I'm hesitant to say free farm status because he is missing out on quite a few creeps as they do get denied. But Luna and Behemoth going to come up here. There's the Pyromancer stun. Slick's going to be able to pick up that kill, no problem. Actually going to burn the ultimate, which is a little bit surprising, as I think that was a sure kill, but still going to be able to take down the level 5 Plague Rider and get back some of this lane control. So now Slicks, who was farming very nicely, is in really good shape. Going to put on that mana potion. Just keep farming away in this lane. The point I was going to make before that little engage was just that I would have thought his farm would be a bit higher, given his farm, because Plague Rider is denying a creep every wave. That does slow down his maximum potential for farm. Do see a nice disjoint there from Magnus. Well, not quite disjoint, but mitigating the damage from that Valkyrie call, as he did invis himself thanks to that Steam Bass. So well played there by Mr. Magnus. What is your name? Mr. Flirtees? That is a cute name right there, Mr. Flirtees. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Very well played regardless, forcing Valkyrie to leap back. Corrupted Disciple does have his Ghost Marches finished, making him a little bit more of a scary adversary here for the eyes through the eyes of TT Esports, as he's just quite speedy relative to everyone else. He's going to head back to the mid lane here and continue farming away. And Reward not having a bad time either. Down in the bottom lane, he is now picking up a bit of free farm as the Valkyrie has roamed towards the mid. It looks like they are going to try and set something up. A 3-on-3 here in the mid lane, as there has been lane shuffling all around, and Magma's going to go straight in. Valkyrie going to catch the stun. Mirax is trying to go in as well. Does not have an ultimate. Looks like Valkyrie is going to fall. Will connect with that Quake stun, but unfortunately not going to be able to turn anything around. I think Miraxis is going to be able to survive this, so they're going to keep chasing him down. He is going to keep throwing those axes onto Corrupted Disciple. The ultimate is activated, and oh, is he going to be able to finish him off? Corrupted Disciple has him one hit from death. Down he goes. Lady Melissa going to be able to finish off TT Esports Riser, but not before falling himself, as he does get taken out. Behemoth going to throw a nice Fissure block. Magnus may find himself in a bit of a sticky wicket. I don't know Behemoth is going to be enough to finish him off, and it doesn't look like he's going to throw on the potion, but it's going to be a while before he has another Fissure. Still a couple mana short, still off cooldown for a couple of seconds. He's going to get caught by that stun, though, and I don't think he's going to be able to make it happen. All the while, though, while that engage was happening, Slicks was able to pick up a kill in the top lane onto Plague Rider yet again. So now we're seeing Slicks start to snowball a little bit, sitting level 8 against the level 5 Plague Rider. Not surprised to see that Pyromancer took him down. If he connects with one Dragonfire stun, I think you can kiss Plague Rider goodnight, especially now that Pyromancer has that ultimate. Do you see a tower deny in the mid lane come out from WTF, so well done there to secure the first tower kill of the game in the form of a deny. Certainly good news for TT Esports, though losing that mid tower always does hurt, limiting the access points of TT Esports, I should say. Slick's pulling up that gold. I would imagine he's saving up for a portal key here, just about halfway there with his Steam boots. So he is again still in very, very good shape and continuing to look like he is in better shape as well. Go to GPM chart now. I've actually seen Corrupted Disciple get overtaken by that of Pyromancer, so it seems that my nerves have been settled for some of the things I was worried about early on as far as Pyromancer not being able to pick up those early kills. he's fixed that. He's been able to kill good old Plague Rider twice now, and that is definitely good news. So now this is when we see Pyromancer become a very scary force. I think Pyromancer kind of peaks around that level 11 mark. Once he gets that level 2 ultimate, has both of these Dragonfire and Phoenix Wave abilities capped out at level 4, and has a point or two in that fervor, that's really when we see Pyromancer take a turn for the scary, especially if he's been able to pick up farm as he has in a game like this. If he gets that portal key right around the level 11 mark, that's when he can just portal key in, kind of insta-gib somebody, and you kind of scratch your head like, wow, Pyromancer is a little bit of an underrated hero. Hopefully Slips will be able to demonstrate that for us a little bit in this match as things continue. Plague Rider is now level 6 though, which does make him a little bit more scary. Of course, that ultimate, one of the reasons why Plague Rider has been picked up so much in the past, and one of the reasons why he's been picked up here, can certainly turn the tide of fight if it is well placed. Mirax is farming surprisingly well also down here in the bottom lane as he's trying to keep this Emerald Warden at bay, just glancing at the raw creep scores here. Emerald Warden's in pretty damn good shape, the third highest in the game. We are going to see some engagement though. Behemoth going to get caught out. Looks like Leon Black going to pay the ultimate price as he does get hit by that Silver Bullet as well as a Witch Slayer Son. Down he goes. Very unfortunate, one of those situations again where Leon Black putting himself in a position to either come out a master or go down a fool, and unfortunately he was caught and down he went. There's a beautifully placed ward here by Impunity's Heir, and well, that did snipe out old Behemoth there. Other item pickups, a surprising item pickup right here. We're going to see Slicks on this Pyromancer go straight for the Ring of Sorcery instead of straight for the Portal Key, which actually isn't a bad way to go. It does limit some of his aggressive potential as he starts to approach that level 11 mark, but it does give him a bit more of a lane presence. Of course, Pyromancer, a very mana-intensive hero, can certainly benefit from a Ring of Sorcery, but oh no, a 5-second arrow going to connect with Ken on that Emerald Warden. He's going to get dropped like he's hot. Now we see the counter engage coming. There's a lot of damage coming out onto Slicks. He is going to take that Graveyard Stun, but no follow-up to come, and he's going to be able to survive. So very unfortunate there for Emerald Warden. A beautifully placed arrow from WTF. Down in the bottom lane, Plague Rider may find himself in a bit of a sticky situation, as will Flirtise on that Magmus. A double tap coming out for Riser on that Miraxis down in the bottom lane, and that is definitely good news bears for TT Esports. Now ahead 9-5, only 13 minutes in. Pardon me, they are really starting to pull ahead here. Another arrow going to get chucked. Unfortunately, not going to connect with Witch Slayer here, but this tower is within deny range, so they are in a position to try and pick up the kill once Witch Slayer goes about it. We see the creep wave getting completely annihilated by this Pyromancer. Plenty of mana regen on him now that he has that Ring of the Teacher, as well as his Ring of Sorcery. He has got more rings than he knows what to do with. The tower taking a lot of damage now. It's going to be a battle for the deny. The glyph going to be used to delay the inevitable a bit longer. Who's going to be able to finish off that last auto attack? Unfortunately, Slick's going to go in and isn't going to be able to get it off. That Plague Rider ultimate coming out. Not going to do a hell of a lot of damage, but in comes Corrupted Disciple to secure the kill onto Slicks. Looks like Valkyrie's going to fall as well. Not going to be able to get that leap off, and down he goes, still on cooldown. Very unfortunate indeed. We do see, oh my gosh, Vitalba actually with a snipe. Unfortunately, we missed it, but Witch Slayer does get taken down. Beautifully done by Vitalba with that red power throw, finding a positive amongst the negative there, making it a 1-for-2 exchange. Unfortunately, that tower was denied, and there is no recovery from that. This Tier 1 tower for TT Esports, though, may fall relatively quickly here. It is taking a lot of damage, and Corrupted Disciple actually tanking it. I think TT Esports is going to have an opportunity to defend this one, pending on what Impunity does here, if they decide to get hyper-aggressive or if they decide to back it on up. Looks like TT Esports is going to pour it in, though, and they're going to be the aggressors here, looking for that engage. Magmus trying to line something up. Actually going to get caught by that Behemoth stun. It seemed almost an accident that Behemoth was able to take him out, but down he goes. Leon Black and he used the shockwave to finish him off. And Slicks, while all that was going on, actually picked up another kill on the Emerald Warden. Ken was taken down during the engage. So a 2-for-0 exchange. TT Esports all grouped up around the top lane. It looks like they may try and continue putting pressure on here. Slicks still leading the way in gold farm, sitting just about 360 GPM. I'm still struggling with these numbers this morning. I do greatly apologize. I don't know why I can't get these numbers right. They just keep getting transposed in my mind when I go about trying to read them. But Slicks, yeah, he's just been doing a good job overall. Slow start, but now sitting 3-1-1. He is in good shape, getting dangerously close to that portal key once again with about 1,200 gold in the bank. Like I said, that level 11 mark is when he's really going to start to shine. If he can pick it up by level 12, level 13, he is going to be damn scary. Corrupted Disciple with an invisibility rune up here, looking to make something happen, though I don't know he's going to have the burst damage to finish off either of these heroes. Looking for a weak Pyromancer, unfortunately not going to find it, and with a Luna close by, makes sense that he's just going to look for his options in other places. Looks like he is going to evaluate this mid lane here, as they may try and set something up. There is a Magmus to help support, and this could be a little bit dangerous for this Valkyrie here in the mid lane, as well as Behemoth if they get engaged on. But unfortunately for Lady Melissa, not going to find the opportunity that he's looking for. Other item pickups that we can note here, boots being completed on all sides of the coin, both Emerald Warden and Corrupted Disciple sitting on their Ghost Marchers now. Corrupted Disciple able to finish his Helm of the Black Helm of the Black Legion, which of course is a core item on this hero, so that's good to see him able to pick that up nice and early. Seeing that survivability is key on Corrupted Disciple, thanks to that Conduit, which he is actually leveling quite well. For a second, I got my skills transposed there. Still no points in Static Discharge, but not too surprised to see that either. Other core items, Plague Rider actually dangerously close to an Astrolabe, which is certainly good news. And on the Hellborn side of things, we see Meraxis now really close to his portal key as well, only about 150 gold off. Looks like him and Pyromancer are going to pick up their portal keys just about on point with one another around that 17-18 minute mark, and that is really going to change the scope of this Hellborn team. It's going to change them from a slightly more defensive team with a strong laning phase to a really aggressive team with a lot of scary initiation power. We can't forget that although Meraxis is regarded as a tanky hero, one that is pretty regarded as a great initiator because of that Quake Stun and his ultimate, he can also dish out a lot of AoE burst damage. If he goes in, connects with that Quake, throws an axe or two, and then gets a full or close to full ultimate off, that's a lot of burst damage that can come out very, very quickly. So that on top of a Pyromancer, both of them with portal keys, you can see kind of the potential right there, the synergy between all that AoE damage and back-to-back AoE stuns. Really is scary for Impunity. That makes their positioning so much more important than it has been previously in this game. Unfortunately, Magmus is kind of their initiator that changes the scope of their team, but he is ways off that portal key, sitting with only about 750 gold in the bank. He is not close whatsoever, and that is definitely going to harbor Impunity, opening a really nice timing window actually for TT Esports, where they're going to have a huge initiation advantage. We are going to see an engage down here, though. Meraxis taking a lot of damage. Looked like he wanted to turn, but the silence from Emerald Warden kind of scaring him back. Vitalba on this Aluna needs to be careful playing with fire, but Meraxis is going to go back in and counter initiate. There's that burst I'm talking about. Going to be able to pick up a kill onto air. The rest of the team coming in. A beautiful shockwave from Leon Black. Going to pick up that kill onto the orange Plague Rider, and we see the remaining two heroes in full retreat mode here. Emerald Warden and Corrupted Disciple trying their best to survive. Corrupted Disciple's going to bite the bullet. Would have been hit by an arrow anyhow, but he's going to fall. Double tap actually coming out for Leon Black. More initiation following here onto Emerald Warden. They're going to dive the tower. I don't think Emerald Warden's going to be able to survive, and Ken is going to go down. Looks like Flirtees is the only one left to survive. He's going to connect with an ultimate, actually going to be able to pick up a kill of his own onto WTF. Unfortunately, didn't secure that kill onto Pyromancer, just slightly out of range. Nice positioning from Slick. Now we see Flirtees completely out of mana. Probably could have set up that kill onto Meraxis if he had enough for a Lava Surge, but unfortunately, the ultimate and Lava Surge combo completely cleaned him out. Regardless, a nice little cleanup there from Flirtees, picking up a 1 kill for the 4, so a 4-for-1 exchange. A positive amongst 4 negatives there, but still a nice play nonetheless. So just going to toggle the mute on the mic there. I saw some people saying lag, possibly getting audio drops. Partially the reason why I'm upgrading is I have been having some audio drop issues on the stream, and it's hardware related. Let's put it that way. It's not unbearable, but there's no lag. It's a shitty computer. Certainly could just been a Twitch hiccup, but regardless, hopefully things are good. I did do a fresh reset before this to make sure I don't have any other crap running in the background. But uh-oh, more initiation, and again, Witch Slayer just completely obliterated the power throw mixed with Meraxis initiation, just a little bit too much for him to handle. I mean, Meraxis not even using his ultimate there, and that's really where that burst potential comes from when you stack the ultimate on top of the Quake, on top of a couple of those more axes abilities. A couple of those more axes as they get thrown, because don't forget more axes do percentage of max health. So one of the reasons why Meraxis is so strong right now is he does work very effectively, even against tanky heroes, doing a percentage-based damage, at least for one of his abilities. So just more evidence as to why Meraxes is so powerful. Again, this initiation advantage. We talked about this timing window for TT Esports where they're going to have that initiation power, and they are certainly capitalizing on it. Going to be able to pick up another kill on Ken. Poor Emerald Warden now sitting 1-5-1, getting completely picked on this game. He was kind of keeping up with Valkyrie as this game was going on, but Valkyrie actually, no, pardon me, should have looked before I spoke. WTF, actually trailing behind a bit, so actually still ahead of Valkyrie, which is great news. It's really more the Pyromancer and Meraxes that they need to worry about, as Slicks is just continuing to farm and become a very deadly force. Slicks continuing to throw me for a loop here with these item choices, as he tends to do, sitting with the double Arcana, not going for that fast portal key as I was talking about. So looks like he really isn't valuing that portal key quite as much in this game, maybe reasoning that Meraxes is going to have enough initiation power that he doesn't really need it, maybe overkill for initiation, so just going raw DPS kind of intellect semi-carry, if you will. Going to be going straight for that Hellflower. I think the synergy on Pyromancer is pretty clear when you're talking about Hellflower on a hero like this. Other item pickups here, as we are stuck in a pause. What better to do than look at items? Looks like Air and Lady Melissa had to do a couple of resets. Hopefully nothing too major, just you know, the old reset the client. Throw in some loops, bro. Exactly right. It's not that his item choices are bad. Slicks is definitely a guy that tends to make his own choices when it comes to items. And the only reason I was thinking for sure it would be a portal key, well, for a couple of reasons. One, because looking at this GPM chart, I think spells it out very clearly for us. He is just a leg up on anyone else. He's 100 GPM above the next two top farmers, and even more ahead of everyone else in the game that aren't Meraxes and Corrupted Disciple. In my mind, having that initiation power is really key. Sort of that same reason we see Silhouettes going portal key before Shield Breaker. Nullstone portal key is kind of that Silhouette build that's becoming more and more popular. Because the portal key, although a little bit risky, just gives you so much more ability. It does allow you to farm a little bit more quickly as well, hopping around to those creep camps. It's just an overall very versatile item, but it does come down to how aggressive do I want to be? Am I going to pick up this portal key and move around the map and set up ganks? Or are they going to do kind of what Slicks is doing here, where he's playing a little bit more of a passive Pyromancer? I say that very lightly, as he is 4-1-2, only 21 minutes in. But he's playing relatively passively. He's been spending a lot of time in lane farming, looking at his creep score. He's got 147 creep kills, by far the most in the game. So he's been playing a much more passive Pyromancer, and most of his kills have come from porting in to defend towers or people coming up to his lane to give him struggle, to try and check his farming a little bit. And of course, at least 2 of those 4 kills have been just straight up onto the Plague Rider. So in my mind, I just thought Slicks would have followed up with the hyper-aggressive portal key, like, alright, let me just get out of control snowball. He went Hellflower. No, nothing wrong with that. It's a great item. Makes sense here. Once I break it down and reason it that way with the way he's been playing, I think the Hellflower fits into his farm or his playstyle a little bit more. But what are you gonna do? I like the portal key. I was hoping for the portal key. I made a bold prediction. It's another one of those situations where you say, all right, that's what he's doing. You either come out looking like a champ, like you knew what he was going to do, or you just come out looking like a fool, like, oh, man, I guess that really wasn't his intention. So what are you going to do? Slicks is definitely a guy, though. If you're going to predict items, Slicks is not the guy to do it with. He definitely... he likes to make last-minute decisions based on how he's feeling in this game. You know, he's not one of those guys that comes into this game, all right, I'm going to play Pyromancer, I'm going to farm, get a 12-minute portal key, then I'm going to gank heavy. He's not one of those kind of players. He is much more of a, all right, I'm gonna feel this one out. I'm gonna pick up my items based on what it seems like they're gonna do in this game, kind of how I'm feeling, kind of a guy. So it can be very difficult to predict. Looks like Air has reconnected. Hopefully Lady Melissa follows promptly here. We can get back into game number 2. Of course, this is the Grand Poobah. Game number 2 of this best of 3 series between Impunity and TT Esports. I'm Zyori from ZyoriTV. Sort of guest casting here, however you want to put it. I don't know who normally covers this, but glad to be here. As I said in one of my previous vlogs, I'm going to be doing a bit more of a Garena casting, doing some SEA coverage. My schedule allows it for now, so certainly happy to be here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Obviously solo casting today, but you can find all my stuff on Zyori.tv or all that social networking, Twitter and Facebook.com/ZyoriTV. So, Yeah, kind of an impromptu production here. I don't have a lot of other media prepared for pauses like this. This is the time when you wish you had a co-caster and you could be like, all right, so what do you think of this? And you can argue about something trivial like Astrolabe. You know, what if Astrolabe only had a 30-second cooldown and stuff? It's a little less fun theory crafting those kind of oddball things by yourself, but. So, yeah. Yep. There we are. There we go. Lady Melissa has since reconnected. Running low on caffeine here. Almost done my tea. Once again, guys, it is 12 hours earlier than it is in Singapore. Here where I am in the States, exactly 12 hours. So you start this at 8 p.m. I start at 8 a.m. Finally feeling a little bit awake, feeling ready to go. But, you know, like I said before, waking up early definitely makes casting a little bit more interesting. Let's say maybe not more difficult, but a little more interesting. You know, of course, still on the tail end of a cold, still feeling a little congested thanks to the illness I contracted at DreamHack. Well, really following DreamHack, but we'll blame the Swedes, no problem. No problemo. So Meraxis just now picking up a Beast Heart. Looks like he's going to be moving into his Helm of the Black Legion. And this bottom tier 1 tower may find itself under some pretty serious pressure. We do see who is this back here. Magma's hiding behind the tower in the trees. I don't think there's vision of him. If there was, Riser probably would have engaged it by now. GT Esports, though, clumped up down here in the bottom lane. Looks like they're going to kind of commit to putting some pressure on this tower. Impunity not far behind, though, as they're grouping up down here as well. Both sides have some wards down. Impunity with a ward of Rev here, and TT Esports actually with a ward of Rev up here in the side lane as well. So both sides really ready for this engage. Again, looking for that opportunity to try and pick somebody off and then make this a really easy fight. Of course, TT Esports does not have Slicks down here, so probably going to be hesitant to engage, at least in a head-on kind of 4-on-4, 4-on-5 scenario. Some more stacking action going on here. Pardon me. And we're going to see TT Esports pick up a nice little bit of farm. Slicks continuing with that passive play, though, just farming away the jungle and now pushing this top lane. Needs to be a little bit careful, just going to nuke the wave. Well, and head on back. Looks like he does have enough in the bank, though, to pick up that third Arcana. So now that Pyromancer will be able to pick up the Health Flower, I imagine he's going to be in a position where, or the TT Esports will be in a position where they're going to try and get step it up a little bit as far as the aggression is concerned. They're in one of those spots where, yeah, they're ahead right now, but who's picking up the farm? It's that Pyromancer Meraxis combo. Eventually, I think Emerald Ward will start to carry a little bit, though. Actually, they're really in no hurry. TT Esports has such a nice lead step for themselves, 18-8. They're really in no immediate danger of this Emerald Warden. He's sitting with only a Blessed Orb. Unfortunately, Ken, as we noted a few times already, is just being picked on non-stop this game, it would seem, and his farm is really reflecting, as is his inventory. So TT Esports really not in any kind of hurry here, and you can really understand from their perspective why they're playing this so defensively. They're so far ahead, it doesn't make much sense for them to take an absurd amount of risk, you know, move around the Legion jungle, maybe pick up some kills, maybe trade 1-for-1. They know they have map control right now. They know that they're farming better than their opponents, and they're really happy just to take the better of that farm. We saw them take out the triple stacked Ancients right here, which have since respawned, but up here at the Legion Ancients, haven't really seen too much action. I would imagine it's been getting cleared at least semi-regularly here, but I haven't seen it stacked. They've certainly missed a couple of stack rotations, and this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about with map control. Both teams are relatively locked on their respective sides of the map, but the difference in map control is what are they doing? Are they stacking the jungle? Do they have a support moving in, stacking as much as possible? Are they clearing those Ancients at the very least on every cooldown? Are they stacking the Ancients on every cooldown? Those are really important things, and those are things we'll see TT Esports start to pull ahead even further as things continue. But we do have initiation. TT Esports going to pick up 3 kills, make that 4 to start the 3 kills, pardon me, to start off this fight. That initiation power came out of nowhere. Meraxis just jumped straight into the tower. And who did he obliterate first? Looks like Lady Melissa was actually the one to get obliterated first on that Corrupted Disciple. So beautiful engage from TT Esports using that explosive power. Slicks following up as well, actually ultimately ending with a double tap, Flirtease and air pull, paying the ultimate price when it's all said and done. We do see another pulse coming out here, possibly a connection issue. Hopefully nothing that can't be resolved pretty quickly. I would imagine this tier 1 tower in the mid lane is going to take some pretty serious pressure, as it is a 5v2 scenario. And then we're going to see Air with the Rage Quit again. Looks like it is indeed a connection issue. It looks like I see somebody in chat. It looks like Impunity is indeed rolling with a couple of ringers here. Like I said, I've casted Impunity a couple of times in the past, though not enough to have their full roster memorized. They do have 3 tagged up members, and 2 of them not tagged up, obviously, here. Ken, as well as Avaleska. I think that's pretty... Avaleska, something close to that. I've been avoiding saying that name because I'm afraid to butcher it. But obviously, ringers of sorts here. I see some other people talking about... I see Mishki's here dropping the knowledge on me, like, oh, I need a good Garena co-caster just so I don't have to guess at what these teams are all about. I do see some people talking about TT Esports as well. I believe that this is the A lineup for TT Esports with Leon Black, Riser, with Taliba, WTF, and Slicks. This is their lineup. I know some people were talking about DreamHack. They had Bobo there. They had MindNut stepping in for WTF. They were complete ringers. WTF was supposed to come, but there were visa issues, so MindNut stepped in at the last second. And Riser couldn't come because there was that rule where you have to have 4 members of the region that you qualified for on your team. Leon Black and Riser are not Australian, so they couldn't both come. So Riser took the back seat. Bobo, one of their IRL Australian friends, he's sort of one of their B players, stepped in for the event. And you know, Bobo, I think, is a little bit of an underestimated player since we're talking about TT Esports here. He's not really a pro player per se, but he does have some skills. You know, he practices with the team a good bit. He's real life friends with 2 or 3 of the members. I know there are quite a few local Australian LAN events that he's participated in with the team. So, you know, he wasn't just some scrub that they picked up. He is a real life friend that they played with quite a bit in the past. But indeed, he is not a... He's not part of their A roster, if that makes sense. Any event where they're required to have 4 members of their team in the Australian region, Bobo will step in, especially for LAN events where, you know, you all have to be there, that kind of a thing. Bobo and Bobo's a hell of a nice guy. I actually had a lot of fun talking to Bobo. He was I talked to TT Esports a lot at DreamHack, but I think Bobo, Slicks, and their manager Shinks were the 3 that I got to talk to the most. And Bobo is really quite the chatty guy. He always seems to have a lot to say. So yeah, for the Dream Han event, it was based on citizenship. It's not where you live. I believe it's more of a citizenship-based thing. Like to count as an Australian for the Australian region, you have to have citizenship in Australia or be like living there on a visa. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't like, oh yeah, Leon Black's Australian, but he lives in California. No, he's an American that lives in California. That guy. The rules actually got a little bit complicated with how many people are required and that stuff for the DreamHan event, but it was pretty cool. So as you can see, still stuck in this pause. I don't know exactly what the issue is here for Impunity. Pardon me as I stretch, but Lady Melissa and Air yet again having connection issues. I would imagine that they're on the same connection, whether they're landing it up or at a internet cafe. There's some sort of connection issue here. I haven't a flow of information. Unfortunately, I really don't know what's going on. So I have to impress you guys with my storytelling. Again, to reiterate, because I see people still confused, my not stepping in, that was a last-minute thing. It was like they qualified with their 4 Australians. WTF wanted to go. It was some sort of a visa issue. Like his passport was expired and he didn't realize it. I don't know what it was. That was just the first example that came to mind of what an appropriate, quote, visa issue could be. Basically, he wasn't certified to leave the country. And it was probably just some clerical thing where he couldn't get a passport within X amount of days, something like that. So they made an exception. S2 was able to step in. So then they had to ring her. Yeah, so MyNuts is Swedish. He lives in Sweden, so it worked out very nicely. So it looks like they are loading back in here. Hopefully we can resume pretty quickly, because like I said, I'm running out of filler. I would queue up some music, but unfortunately, if I put music and then that screws up the VOD for YouTube, because YouTube will be like, wait a second, I'm not sure that you own that music. Even if you do own it, they'll still flag your video, which is really irritating. And unfortunately, you know, like this is my first time catching this event, and I've never really watched it before. Normally, like at a time like this, I would review past statistics or talk about the Grand Poobah a little bit, or what we can expect in upcoming weeks. There is $2,600 on the line, which is quite good, but unfortunately, I'm not that well versed in the mechanics of this event, just because, well, I'm kind of a noob when it comes to the SEA scene a little bit. You know, I met some of the players and some of the managers during the DreamHack, and well, opportunities like this came about. Like I said, very happy to be here. I really like seeing some of the diversity on in some of the other regions, and well, as long as you guys aren't well, trying to gouge your ears out right now, I'm happy to be here and happy to provide this coverage. Although at this present moment in time, I'm not particularly satisfied sitting here staring at this pause, just because, well, I'm lonely. Oh. It is interesting, though. It is really cool to see, like, you know, what's going on Garena. It's always a pleasure. Anytime we have like an It's Gosu Invitational or what have you, it's always a pleasure to see teams like MUFC and Orange Esports come in. You know, even if they come and don't perform that well as far as making it that far in the tournament, or they don't win the tournament, it's really interesting to see their play style. And I heard a lot of really positive things about Orange Esports from some of the other players in the Dream Hanaba. You know, obviously they were right on the cusp of qualifying. I think they were like the 5th place out of the 8 group stage teams, and obviously the top 4 move on. So being in that 5th spot is that kind of bittersweet, like, oh, we were so close, but we weren't quite there. It was pretty amazing to hear the other teams speak really, really positively of them. You know, I talked to Nova for a long time on day 3 of the tournament, or day 3 of the event, I should say, on the Mid-Wars tournament, and he's just had pretty much only positive things to say about the individual skill cap and you know, play style of each player. He said they're really just lacking experience at all, and that makes sense. You know, the SEA Han hasn't been around that long compared to the international client. So I mean, you guys have been playing, but still, you know, it's a little bit different. So it kind of makes sense, and you know, to hear other professional players have that kind of, like, you know, major props to this team, and they're going to be really scary in the next couple of months, especially with lockpicking, as we all kind of learn the theory crafting. That makes me really excited to cast games on this in this region, just to see what you guys are up to, see what your own metagame is like, and the heroes you're experimenting with. Anyhow, enough of that. Let's get back into this game. At the tail end of that pause, we did see Plague Rider get taken out as sort of the aftermath from that last engage. Again, just to recap, it was a 4-for-0 exchange when it was all said and done. Oh, beautiful attempt on that Valkyrie arrow. Unfortunately, not timed quite right by L there on WTF. But we may see Corrupted Disciple take a bit of damage here. A Fissure Stun going to come out to harass him back a little bit. So, yeah, so anyway, just to recap this game a little bit, oh gosh, TT Esports just won a pretty big team fight there, really picking up a lot more momentum. They were ahead by a pretty big margin, but now they're getting closer and closer to that kind of point of no return, if you will, to take out that Tier 1 tower in the mid lane as well, and it looks like they're grouping up around this bottom lane to possibly put some pressure on the Tier 1 tower down here. At this point, we're getting close to that kind of mindset of, all right, what can Impunity do to start to turn this game around? Obviously, what they're doing isn't working. They're just sort of getting outplayed right now. They're losing that map control, and it seems to be just getting worse, if that last team fight is any indication of where this game is going. In my opinion, I think they really need to group up and do exactly what they just did right there. WTF going to pay the ultimate price as he overcommits and gets taken down. Beautifully done. That's exactly what Impunity needs to do. They need to take their power and numbers, find exchanges like that where they can pick on somebody and just pick up those kills. And it looks like they may be able to do this at the top lane as well. Miraculous overcommitting on Air, rewarding a little bit. The ports come in, and Air going to be the one to pick up that last hit and finish off Riser, ending the onslaught streak. A 470 gold bounty now going to go to Witchslayer. That certainly is a nice pick-me-up. So more exchanges like that, and Impunity is going to be well on their way to turning this game around and maybe able to pick up a momentum shift of their own. I think the biggest mistake they can make right now is to stay super spread out about the map and allow themselves to fall victim to that, because it's obvious TT Esports now is getting very aggressive. We've seen since Riser picked up that portal key, he's been all over the place, setting up kills at any opportunity, trying to do it again there in the top lane. A beautiful response from Impunity. That's the kind of stuff they need to continue doing to win this game. The big thing right now is this Slicks on Pyromancer. Again, he is way ahead of everyone else in the game as far as that farm is concerned, and he is damn scary. Even though we don't think of Pyromancer as too much of a carry, Slicks is definitely taking much more of a carry route, transitioning now into some of that auto attack, right-click DPS, picking up the Whispering Helm for some additional survivability. Of course, that life steal being the most valuable attribute in my opinion. Pretty interesting though. Really not so often we see Pyromancer with a Whispering Helm. He does have a Blessed Orb in the inventory as well, so you gotta be curious what's that gonna turn into. Normally I would say it's probably gonna be a Sheep Stick. That's nice. It synergizes nicely with intellect semi-carries, especially heroes like Pyromancer for that crowd control. But, you know, it wouldn't surprise me to see this turn into a Geometer's Bane, in all honesty. Given that he's picked up that Whispering Helm, seeing a Geometer's Bane come out wouldn't surprise me nearly as much as it probably should, especially given that it's Slicks as well. Time will tell if that's going to be the case. He's getting, I need to stop saying dangerously close. He's getting very close to being able to pick it up. Or he could always just transition into that portal key, or as I said, Sheep Stick is always a viable option. Magmus has now picked up that portal key, which is always a big item pickup. We talked about that that initiation timing window that our Hellborn team had once Maraxus picked up that portal key, and that timing that Magmus didn't have one. They capitalized. They picked up a lot of kills, but now that Magmus has the portal key, that's going to open up some more windows of opportunity for Impunity here, at least to counter-initiate, if not get some jumps themselves. We see Kongor under attempt, and they are dropping everything to try and finish off this Kongor. A double damage rune in the hands of Slicks on that Pyromancer, and they're going to be able to drop Kongor very, very quickly. No surprise to see the Token of Life going to that Pyromancer, who is just a damn scary force now, sitting with just about 3k gold in the bank, opening a lot of doors as far as item choices are concerned in the next few moments when he decides to get executive here with those item choices. So, you know, we've gone over the item choices here. I feel like we're kind of back on track since we resumed from that pause. Behemoth has also picked up his portal key, which is, I believe, the aftermath of that last big fight we saw before the tower, or before the tier 1 tower in the mid lane did fall. Now some pressure going to be fall this tier 2 tower. We can't forget about Pyromancer as a pushing hero as well. That debuffed as we see on the tower. Unfortunately, we can't look at it over here to see how many stacks it's up to, but look how fast that tower ticks down, just burning away. You can't underestimate that right click fervor DPS that adds up. Those stacks do 4 magic damage DPS, well, damage per second per stack, so it adds up pretty quick, especially once Pyromancer gets that kind of auto attack damage or attack speed, as we see here. But a huge initiation from TT Esports. They're going to be able to clean it up. It looks like a 4-for-0 exchange, a buyback used almost right away. Nope, a 3-for-0 exchange, pardon me, as the tower does get taken out. Make that 4. Looks like it could be a clean sweep as Emerald Warden gets caught here. He's going to go down. A 5-for-0 exchange for TT Esports. So that might be the nail in the coffin right there. The Genocide comes out. Is there enough for buybacks? Only on Corrupted Disciple, and I don't think he's going to be able to hold this off in a 1v5 scenario. The tier 3 tower going to fall in the mid. The melee barracks going to fall shortly after, and unfortunately TT Esports not going to be able to pick up another lane of racks here, though they may have had time for. The tier 2 towers in the bottom and top lanes are still up, and we'll see where they transition from here. They're probably going to move up and at least pick off, or move up or down and pick off one of those towers. I would imagine though the Legion heroes are well, they are coming back up, and they are just going to port back to the base. One of them going to port to the tower here to pick up a little bit of farm. So TT Esports not going to overcommit. They're going to take their barracks and run. We do see some items picked up on Slicks. What were they on the courier? And it is indeed a Geometer's Bane, so I feel like I'm starting to understand Slicks a little bit better here. The Geometer's Bane is a great choice, of course, adding about a 30% damage boost with those illusions to that right click auto attack DPS, so it makes a lot of sense since that's sort of the build that he's going for here, but also gives him a lot of great survivability and increases that attack speed, movement speed, gives Pyromancer that much more versatility. The movement speed, I think, is sort of the key thing not to overlook. Now he's going to have that movement speed boost over some of these Legion heroes, but it will allow him to keep up with Corrupted Disciple a little bit here. We see Corrupted Disciple pretty regarded as a speedy hero, sitting around 381 movement speed. Pyromancer actually has a leg up on him right now, so that's good news. That's Slicks again sort of picking up items on the fly, saying, all right, I want to go sort of a carry style. What's going to work well here? All right, the run speed, a lot of synergy with this item, all coming together. And he still has that Blessed Orb sitting here in the inventory, which very well could still turn into a Sheep Stick as things continue to progress. But at the very least, it's been interesting to see these item selections. Maraxus sitting with about 2,900 gold in the bank. We'll see what he does with item choices. Looks like he's going to answer that question for us right here. Going to port back and pick up an Arcana or two. And, you know, obviously going to be transitioning into the Health Flower, following up very nicely with that initiation. 2 Health Flowers will work very, very well for this Hellborn side. Behemoth also with an interesting item pickup as well, going to be going for the Soul's Bulwark. So interesting items all around as Valkyrie now finishes her Frostburn. So sort of an interesting choice from WTF, though, given his farm is just now kind of on the recovery, finally looking good. I guess that kind of makes sense just to get some of those base stats and get a little bit more HP. Very well-rounded item. I think I mentioned in the last game, it is becoming a little bit more popular, at least compared to how it was the past 6 months or so in the international client, where we didn't see it at all. You see Magnus. Oh, no. What are you doing? Good buddy is going to get caught by a 5-second arrow. 5-second arrow. Slick's going to go in with the ultimate for the onslaught, so very unfortunate right there. Plague Rider going to get dropped as the initiation continues. Corrupted Disciple in a little bit of trouble as well, though he is going to be able to survive for now, and he is going to be able to make it. It looks like that Shrunken Head will be enough to keep him alive. Still a 2-for-0 exchange in favor of TT Esports yet again. Looks like the Tier 2 tower in the top lane is going to fall, and I have a feeling these Vraks are going to take some pretty serious damage. We're going to be entering Rack City pretty quickly here. Plague Rider continually getting taken out without using that ultimate, sitting 0-7-2. That's definitely hurting this Legion team quite a bit in these team fight. Air going to get taken down here as it looks like they might be able to shut down Slicks. He's getting dangerously low. He's going to fall. Unfortunately, didn't have the token any longer. And down he goes. So there is a slight recovery, though he does buy back right away and is going to be headed back down to the action. I do believe the Legion side going to be able to defend the Tier 3 tower and actually going to pick up a kill on Behemoth as he does hang around too long. Leon Black's ultimate warrior streak going to get taken out, unfortunately, there. So a nice recovery for Impunity. They do pick up a couple of kills, but most importantly, defend their base up in the top lane. So not all hope is lost, it would seem, though things continuing to look a little bit dark for the Legion side. Now 25 gold, or 25k gold, 25k experience behind, quite the significant margin to overcome. Slick's just annihilating this tower down here in the bottom lane using that newly fashioned Geometer's Bane, as well as capitalizing on the burning effect from that fervor, absolutely annihilating the last outer remaining tower here for the Legion side. So it's nothing but Tier 3 towers left as Slicks continues to pick up the farm and do a bit of damage. The GPM charts, a 600 GPM Pyromancer. It's absolutely nuts. It is bonkos. Oh my. Kongor should be respawning in a reasonably timed manner here. I lost track of the counter. I believe the token actually expired on Slicks instead of being burned. If it was burned, I totally missed it. It's hard to keep track, and my mental timer gets all screwed up when we sit in long pauses like that. I think, okay, Kongor should be up again. Wait a second, we had 10 minutes worth of pauses, so yeah, I've lost track of Kongor. But he should be up reasonably soon, I do believe. Let's see here. So, no other crazy item pickups as things have been continuing along. Pyromancer now picking up a Mighty Blade, so he may be moving towards a Shrunken Head or something like that. Valkyrie actually is going straight into the Rift Shard, so WTF transitioning a little bit more of a hard carry role as well, especially now that he's starting to overtake Emerald Warden. That is going to become very, very significant. Kind of a 5v5 battle brewing down here in the bottom. Slicks just continuing to chip away at the tower with that illusion, doing a nice maybe 20% damage to the tower, pretty much for free though. Can't complain with that. I'm not sure exactly what their golden ticket to initiation power here is going to be. TT Esports is again stuck between a rock and a hard place where, yeah, they have a huge advantage, but they still can't really afford to engage uphill just straight into the tower. It's very, very difficult, even if you're ahead by as much as they are right now. It's even more difficult because they don't have a barrier idol. Nobody even with a Shaman's Headdress, so that's a little bit disappointing. But a 3-second stun going to connect with Witch Slayer to start things off. WTF going to be the one to pick up that kill. The engage continuing here. Magmus going to use that ultimate, but unfortunately a bit of a whiff. Behemoth's going to go in. Leon Black with a huge shockwave. He's going to be able to do a hell of a lot of damage. That's going to set up the platform for the rest of those kills to come out. A 5-for-0 exchange. TT Esports cleaning it up. Leon Black doing some serious work right there. Looks like we could be moments from a tap out. The Tier 3 tower in the bottom is going to fall. The exposed melee rack's going to fall shortly after. Is there enough money for buybacks? No, there are not. Not from anyone on this entire team. So now with 2 lanes of ranged racks down, it's going to be very, very difficult for this Legion side to turn it, to say the very least. I was just mentioning how difficult it is for TT Esports to engage uphill right there. The reason they were able to do that, because of that 3-second arrow onto Witch Slayer. If you can start off the fight by destroying one of their heroes and making it a 5v4 from the get-go, that's your golden ticket to make it happen. So a beautifully placed arrow from WTF starting things off. That beautiful follow-up from Leon Black, catching 3 heroes with that shockwave. very, very well done. The rest is history. Looks like we're going to see this one finish the old-fashioned way, but the World Tree taking a hell of a lot of damage. What you can see does come out. Mirax is going to jump into the well here with the ultimate activated, and Riser actually is going to die before the World Tree goes down. Regardless, that's going to be the end of Game 2. TT Esports going to take this series 2-0. So well played by both sides. Hell of a series on both sides of the coin. We did see some interesting hero picks, some interesting plays, but very, very well done by TT Esports. Of course, I'm Zyori from ZyoriTV. You can check me out at my domain, www.Zyori.tv. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook, Twitter and Facebook.com/ZyoriTV. So certainly appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this week of the Grand Poobah. I certainly enjoyed myself. Hopefully I'll be able to cast some more Garena and SEA events in the very near future. Like I said, I certainly enjoyed it. Hopefully I can get a co-caster on here next time, if there is a next time. But I think that about does. I don't have any crazy announcements or closing words for us here other than thank you for enjoying some Han. Those of you in the SEA region, hopefully you enjoyed this primetime action here on your Friday night. Hopefully you continue to safely enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Huge shout out to Mishkis for helping set me up with this, give me the chance to cast for you fine people. Like I said, hopefully you all enjoyed it. I'm going to throw up the splash screen here, cue up music, maybe play a song or two before we go out. I'm not sure where the VODs will be, but they'll be posted somewhere. Stay tuned. Keep your eyes and ears open. I'm going to take a break, then I'll be back probably casting some of the Fnatic tournament today. So until then, be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other. Plenty more Heroes of Newerth action coming your way in the near future.